And we're back
Grave news!
with grave news. Sir Walter Bullivant takes Hannah at his word, but fears Scudder's findings may have been a little off track.
Well, maybe.
It's not impossible. Although,
It's not like the whole world would go to war or something.
I mean, no big deal. Grave news!
Grave
news.
Grave news.
Saturday, 13th of June, 1914, Sir Walter's cottage, Archenswell. That is some china.
No, that's the Empire.
That is some china. Sir Walter awaited me in the dining room with this
Half-dressed.
insane china. The sight of him, so respectable and established and secure, the embodiment of law and government and all the conventions, took me aback and made me feel like an interloper. He couldn't know the truth about me, or he wouldn't treat me like this. I simply could not accept his hospitality on false pretenses.
Henry's got his morals and
He is a little confused.
morals,
I'm more obliged
priorities.
Yes.
to you than I can say, but I'm bound to make things clear.
Very out of line.
I'm an innocent man, but I'm wanted by the police. I've got to tell you this, and I won't be surprised if you kick me out.
That's all right. Don't let that interfere with your appetite. We can talk about these things after dinner.
I want to go there.
Yeah. Although really that china is atrocious. It made me almost hysterical to be sitting there, waited on by a footman and a sleek butler, and remembering that I had been living for 3 weeks like a brigand and with every man's hand against me. Then we went to his study for coffee. I made up my mind that if ever I got rid of this business and had a house of my own, I would create just such a room. Then, when the coffee cups were cleared away and we had got our cigars alight, he bade me get started with my yarn.
It was the corpses on the walls that really did it for me. Severed head.
Fish.
I've obeyed Harry's instructions, and the bribe he offered me was that you would tell me something to wake me up. I'm ready, Mr. Hannay.
I noticed with a start that he called me by my proper name.
A ripping yarn.
How it began. I told of my boredom in London, and the night I had come back to find Scudder gibbering on my doorstep. I told him all Scudder had told me about Carolides and the Foreign Office Conference, and that made him purse his lips and grin. Then I got to the murder, and he grew solemn again. He heard all about the milkman and my time in Galloway, and my deciphering Scudder's notes at the inn. He drew a breath when I whipped the little book from my pocket. This is still the most amazing picture ever.
The chest direction.
Chest erection. I described my meeting with Sir Harry and the speeches at the hall. At that he laughed uproariously, as one should. My day as the roadman excited him a bit. He made me describe the two fellows in the car very closely, and seemed to be raking them back in his memory. He grew merry again when he heard of the fate of that ass Jopley.
Yay, ass Jopley.
The Blackstone. The old man in the Moorland house solemnized him. Again I had to describe every detail of his appearance.
Look, it's eyes that look like a hawk.
Hawk eyes! He's in MASH.
Oh.
You may dismiss the police from your mind. You're in no danger from the law of this land.
Great Scott! Have they got the murderer?
No. But for the last fortnight, they've dropped you from the list of possibles.
Why?
Principally because I received a letter from Scudder. I knew something of the man, and he did several jobs for me. He was half crank, half genius, but he was wholly honest. Trouble about him was his partiality for playing a lone hand. That made him pretty well useless in any secret service. A pity, for he had uncommon gifts.
He's hung like a
I
horse.
think he was the bravest man in the world, for he was always shivering with fright, and yet nothing would choke him off.
Whoa now.
I had a letter from him on the 31st of May.
He had been dead a week by then.
The letter was written and posted on the 23rd. He evidently did not anticipate an immediate decease. His communications usually took a week to reach me, for they were sent undercover to Spain and then to Newcastle. He had a mania, you know, for concealing his tracks.
He got up and crossed the room to a cabinet, bringing back Scudder's letter. Huzzah! Yeah. Sir Walter, I am in the gravest danger. My worst fears have been realized. My enemies are here in London. They have made themselves known. I cannot write more in case these words be intercepted, but I have found shelter with a good friend who lives near Portland Place. God willing, you will hear from me before the 15th of June. Your servant, Franklin P. Scudder.
Scudder's a very serious man.
Very serious.
Very dead.
Extra dead.
But very serious.
I
In
think
fact-
his object was to clear you if anything happened. But when I got it, I went to Scotland Yard, went over the details of the inquest, and concluded that you were the friend. We made inquiries about you, Mr. Hannay, and found you were respectable. I thought I knew the motives for your disappearance. Not only the police, the other one, too. And when I got Harry's scrawl, I guessed at the rest. I've been expecting you any time this past week.
Thank heavens.
You can imagine what a load this took off my mind. I felt a free man once more, and was totally surprised when this guy turned out to be working with Blackstone and totally threw me under the bus.
You think so?
I wouldn't be surprised.
I think he's a good guy.
Yeah, maybe. But I still wouldn't be surprised if he throws me under the bus.
I
Now,
think he's a good guy.
let us have the little notebook.
Then he threw it in the fire. It took us a good hour to work through it.
Mostly because of the burning.
His face was very grave before he had finished, and he sat silent for a while.
I don't know what to make of it. He's right about one thing. What is going to happen the day after tomorrow? How the devil can it have got known? That is ugly enough in itself. But all this about war and the Black Stone, it reads like some wild melodrama. If only I had more confidence in Scudder's judgment. Trouble about him was that he was too romantic. He had the artistic temperament and wanted a story to be better than God meant it to be. He had a lot of odd biases, too. Jews, for example, made him see red. Jews and the high finance. The Black Stone. Der Schwarze Stein. Yeah, it's like a penny novelette. And all this stuff about Karolides. That is the weak part of the tale,
Well,
for
no,
I
you know how to
happen
say
to know
Karolides.
that the virtuous Karolides is likely to outlast us both.
They've said it out loud
There's no
before.
state in Europe that wants him gone. Besides, he's just been playing up to Berlin and Vienna and giving my chief some uneasy moments.
I think it's his weird accent, because
No.
I think they said Karolides before.
Scudder's gone off the track there. Frankly, Hannay, I don't believe that part of his story. There's some nasty business afoot, and he found out too much and lost his life over it. But I'm ready to take my oath that it's ordinary spy work. A certain great European power makes a hobby of her spy system, and her methods are not too particular. Since she pays by piecework, her blackguards are not likely to stick at a murder or two. They want our naval dispositions for their collection at the Marienamt. But they'll be pigeonholed. Nothing more.
Man, I thought he was going to help.
There's a trunk call from London, Sir
Yep.
Walter. It's Mr. Heath, and he wants to speak to you personally.
Then again, I guess we know how this ends.
Of course, I don't know when it was written, so who knows if it ends how it ended.
I think he just predicted the month and year that World War I would start.
No, but if he wrote it during that time period, it could have been that he knew when it happened and he wrote a book where it didn't.
All right.
My host went off to the telephone. He returned in 5 minutes with a whitish face.
Not white, mind you. but
Whitish.
I apologize to the shade of Scudder. Karolides was shot dead this evening at
Oh,
a few
fuck,
minutes
it's too
after
late.
7.
Yep. The Blackstone.
We could have stopped it too. We purposely did not.
That's true, because we were supposed to wait until the 15th.
No new cards?
No new
Well,
cards.
that's it for this episode then.
Alright, we will see you next time
We're
on the
nearing-
39 steps.
We're nearing the end.
Hopefully we'll find 39 steps down there at the end.